Use ratios and proportions. So a ratio of A to B, I'm going to write that here, okay, is a comparison of a number A and a non-zero number B. If I'm comparing A to B, why does B have to be non-zero? Why does B have to be non-zero? Does anybody know?
Number A.
If I'm comparing A to B, like A to B, let's say A to B, why does B have to be non-zero? Brad?
Because of A was like 5, we had 5.
What does that say?
5 to 0?
No.
Yeah, also, can you divide by 0? Can't divide by 0 either. So there's two reasons there. Okay, you can't compare to 0, and you can't divide by 0. All right? Using, a comparison of a number A and a non-zero number B using division. It can be written as A to B or A dot dot B, A to B. Or, and I'm just using these quotations just kind of to show, to B. You can actually use the word to express a ratio. Okay, proportion. A proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. Like you saw in the football worksheet, you had two ratios equal.
Willie.
Will he ever miss? That was the answer, if anybody didn't get that. Okay? Now, these two things, you may see these in the book. I may not refer to them, and I think at this point I won't test you on them, but you may see them. So if you had this proportion, you would say A is to B as C is to D. Okay? If you had that proportion, A is to B as C is to D, then B and C would be the means in that proportion. You may have heard the terms, you multiply the means and you set it equal to multiplying the extremes. So if B and C are the means, what do you think are the extremes? A and D. Okay? All right, this is what I intended to do. If we hadn't had a snow day, practice reducing fractions, because we need to do that for this chapter. Simplify the ratio. So here we have 35 meters to 700 meters. So 35 over 700, they're the same units, so I can go ahead and reduce this right now. What would you divide by to make it easy? 35 can't be divided by 2, but I know, what about this? I could divide it by 100, but that doesn't work for that. 7. They can both be divided by 7. 5 over 100? Oh, wait, but I can go further. What can I divide each of those by? 5 equals 1 over 20. Okay? Be careful with this next one. When you're simplifying ratios by themselves, they have to have the same units. Okay? So, how many feet are in a yard?
I don't know.
Please tell me you will not graduate from high school without knowing how many feet are in a yard.
7.
15.
Because there are 3 feet in a yard. Commit that to memory if you don't know.
Who would have knew that?
Okay? Now I can reduce this. Divide top and bottom by 3, and I get 4/5. That is the reduced ratio. Okay? All right.
One and 4/5.
Just 4/5. Just 4/5.
Alright,
Did Aiden just write that in his notes?
I did.
3 feet in 1 yard?
yard.
Okay, this is where it becomes a little bit more, you gotta use some algebra. Okay? So in this diagram, DE is to EF is 1 to 2. That means if DE is X, then EF is double that, 1 to 2. I could write up here 1 to 2. There's 1X representing DE, I don't know how long that is. And there's 2X representing EF because it's 1 to 2, okay? So they told me the total length is 45, so what could I do to try and solve for X? What do you think, Allison? Okay. I'm going to write it as this, which is 3X equals 45. X plus 2X would give me the total length, 45. Divide by 3, X equals 15. Oh, but we're not done yet. Don't get too excited. We only have X. We need DE and EF. So I got to take X and substitute it in there, which would give me EF, okay, which is 30, and DE is 15. Pardon me? Once you figure it out, yeah. Once you figure out it's 15. Yeah, okay? All right, the perimeter of a rectangle is 70 centimeters. Okay, I have perimeter, I have a rectangle, I'm just going to draw a picture. The ratio of the length to the width is 3 to 2. Length to width is 3 to 2. So I'm going to say 3 to 2. Okay, that means if I have 2x here, I have 3x here. I don't know how long x is. Got to find that out so I can figure out how long the length and the width is. 2 to 3. So, if I'm talking perimeter, that means I'm going to be going all the way around the rectangle. What's the total perimeter? What did they tell me? 70. So if I add up all the sides, you don't have to necessarily write this step out, but it might be helpful for some. Add up all the sides, and it should equal 70. How many x's do I have here?
3, 4.
Altogether, how many x's? 10x equals 70.
10.
And then x equals 7. But I'm not done yet, because they're asking me for the length and the width. So I'm going to say 2 times 7 is the width. Because remember, they said it was 3 to 2. So this is the length, and this is the width, which is 14 and 21. Okay? All right, you did some proportion work on the football worksheet, but there was nothing much like this. And this is so important. If you have something like that, please, please, please put parentheses around it or you will not get the right answer. Have to put parentheses around it. And then you can set up your cross multiplying, because you have a proportion. 2 times W minus 2 equals 7 times 8 when I cross multiply. What do you have to do here? Distribute. 2W minus 4 equals 56. Add 4 to both sides. Divide both by 2 and W equals 30. Okay? We don't have time to do this one.
That's okay.
But we are going to do this. Use the map on page 360. So I'm going to show you this map. And what it says is find the distance between Austin and El Paso. What city, what state are those in?
Wait, what?
Texas.
Texas, right on. Okay, we have this map here. This is where reading directions is important. It says right down here, from the scale on the map, let's say, like that TV show, I think it's called Revolution, we lose all power, we go off the grid. Lord help me, you might have to read an actual map and not just use GPS on your phone. Okay? It might happen someday. All right? So, let's say from the scale on the map, you know that 1 inch represents 180 miles. So we want to know how far is it from Austin to El Paso. So, on here, I'm going to say, okay, I know that 1 inch is 180 miles. I can set this ratio up like this with different units because I'm going to use a proportion. So if I need to know how far it is from here to here, I can measure it in inches and compare it to miles. So that's what I'm going to do. Looks like about 2.65 inches from El Paso to Austin. So I'm going to put that in the top because I have inches in the top here. 2.65 inches. Do I know how many miles? No, that's what I'm trying to find out. How many miles is that? So now I can just cross multiply and I'll get my answer. Okay? 1x equals 477 miles. That's what it turns out to be. Alrighty?